this. This is my kitchen. When we bought it, it had these beautiful cabinets, which I said, I'm never going to touch them. And my plan is to never touch them. However, it does make the layout quite awkward. When we first bought the house, the stove was where the dishwasher is, and the dishwasher was in this weird little closety area by the door, which was just an empty corner. And we tried to turn it into a closety area to make it more functional, but the problem with that is we don't really use hangers, so it has a lot of stuff there but not a lot of accessible stuff. We don't use it, we just put stuff there. So that's one thing that I'm going to be changing today. And this room is sort of halfway there. I'm gonna get it to, 3/4, 90% of the way by making some curtains. We cleared it out. I still need to clear out the shelves, but I was debating whether I wanted to finish the paint. I ran out of paint when I was originally painting this room pink. And you can see the builder beige that was in every single room on the main floor, at least when we bought the house. Why do they make screws that strip so easily? The first coat is done. It still looks a little bit patchy, so I might make them do a second coat, at least on the spots that aren't going to be covered up with the pegboard. But I'm glad that we did it, because I'm glad to be done with the beige. Goodbye, beige. I am going to put that shelf that was on the bottom on the top to make more vertical storage, and also so that we have more room for hanging the coats, because they're initially put on too low. To put up the pegboard, I have cut strips of wood, and I started off doing 4 strips per piece of pegboard, but I was able to get away with 2 on top and 1 in the bottom middle for the other ones. And another thing I ended up doing was cutting a strip that was the height of the pegboard to put on the edges that were on the side, because otherwise you could see behind the pegboard. These need to stand out from the wall so that you have space to go in with your pegs. And initially when I put on the top, I put them on a little bit crooked. So I had to phone a friend, get my partner to come and help hold them so that I could put them in without them being crooked. Plot twist. The package that I had thought had the pegs in it, so I have saved it this whole time and never opened it because I didn't have a use for it yet. It was not pegs. It was spackling. So I didn't need to buy a huge tub of spackle that I bought, and I have no idea where the pegs are. So this project is to be continued, I guess. Ruh-roh. So I found them! I was about to give up and say that I didn't know what I did with them, and I even stole some of the pegs from the pegboard in our electrical room. I was just going to do enough to hang up my daughter's, give her a little after school, like, put stuff here space. We got this kitchen stool pretty recently. It's a new stool. I like that it looks a bit vintage, but it is not. It is new. And my child has been hard on it. She's poked a hole in it, and she somehow lost one of the screws on the bottom. I tried to take the remaining screw out so that I could have my partner take it into a hardware store and find a match, but it has a washer that's built onto it. I can't get it off. So I think I need to just email the maker to see if we can get a replacement. I've always planned on doing something about recovering it because I didn't like that the whites were different. The white of the metal is not the same white as on the seat, and I really wanted a red stool. Red is one of my favorite colors. And my plan for the kitchen has always been to do like a vintage strawberry vibe. I have some strawberry prints that I really need to get framed and put up. I just don't have a good spot for them in the kitchen. I might have to readjust the spice rack in order to get those hung up and make it make more sense since we have red, white, pink, and green kitchen. Like the goal is vintage strawberry. My daughter doesn't really see the other colors, and she just sees the red and white, and she says that it is a Target kitchen, and she's not wrong. We do have a Target fridge. We do have a Target kitchen. It wasn't my intention, but it is. It is what it is. Maybe I'll like paint on some strawberry details at some point to make it a little less Target. So the first thing I did is I took off the seat and I used a chisel to turn up the metal tabs. I don't think you would want to do this very often. You would not want to replace the cover very often because I don't think the tabs will hold up, but they moved very easily and I could take it apart. Then I cut out a little patch to go in the hole. I didn't want to deal with taking the stuff that was already on it off because I knew that would be really messy and difficult. So I cut a patch and I cut 2 layers of batting to go on top of the seat. I didn't want it to wrap around because I didn't want to add any extra bulk where it was going to have to squeeze between the metal. I wanted to make sure that that would work. I was worried that the fabric itself would be too much. And then came my big problem. Usually when you do upholstery, you probably have some wood that you can staple into, but this is metal. Lots of metal, nothing to staple into. What the chair makers did is they used some sort of adhesive. Probably a spray adhesive would have been the way that most people would have approached this, but I can't use spray adhesive. I have multiple chemical sensitivity, so I had to try and think what was probably the way things were done before these were invented. How can I make this work? So I went with the old needle and thread. And what worked best was sewing one side and then going to the opposite. So you're always pulling and stretching and grabbing corners, grabbing the sides, just going around the whole thing and making it tight so you end up with a web of thread in the middle. And I was a little concerned that it would impact them being pushed back together, but it worked really well. I was able to push them together, and probably all of the threads snapped when I did that, but it held together long enough that I could put the tabs down, and now the seat itself is holding all those together. We also painted the fridge red chalkboard paint. I needed more chalkboard. I just can't have too much chalkboard. Honestly, this color red is not it, but we ran out of paint. For now, we're living with it. It's a little targety, but it's okay. So far all the pegs are doing well except for the peg for, did I take that down already? Yeah. Except for the peg for her backpack, which started here, but this is not like super high quality pegboard. I don't know if they make better quality pegboard, but it pulled the screw through because the backpack is so heavy. So then I tried a different style and that did the same thing. It pulled it through. So next thing I did is I got this piece of scrap wood. Didn't really need this whole piece of scrap wood, but hopefully it'll help brace up the weight of the backpack. Oh, actually it might help me stick it up there. And I'm gonna try putting that through, because these pegs, they're going like that, and then there's like a little screw that screws on there. If that doesn't work, I was thinking about getting a washer and a bolt to hold it on, but I think because the backpack's so heavy, having a little something behind it will be good. So we're gonna try that. I don't have a good place to put you because this is a really tight corner. We're gonna do our best. I'll try sticking you back on the tripod. Ooh, I was gonna say it's no guarantee that you're gonna get a good angle, but then I saw that I was already giving you a pretty terrible angle, so par for the course. Under the sink, we have this ventilated door, and then it's really gross area. It's probably due for a clean out, but honestly, we don't really use this for very much, and I don't want to see it. So it looks like at some point someone has stapled something around. That's exactly what I'm planning on doing today. I'm just gonna cut it enough so I can fold the edges in, and we won't have raw edges. And staple her down. I decided to go really lazy and just use the salvage edges, and one of the salvage edges had some like fringe from where it came off of the loom. So I just cut that fringe off. Done. And then hemmed down both sides and then folded it over, so I had about an inch to go through the curtain rod. So I made about a channel that was about 1 inch long. And then it was time to add the red pom-pom trim. What I should have done is I should have pulled it up a little bit higher so you saw less of the lattice work, but I didn't realize that until I was like halfway through my first one, and I decided that it was good enough. I can live with that. That's good enough. I can maybe even like this. So if it was something permanent, then I would probably care more about getting it perfect, but it's a kitchen, it's gonna get used, and none of the projects that I did today are going to last forever. I love cleaning with steam. I don't love cleaning, but I love cleaning with steam. I want to recommend it because steam cleaning is awesome, but I also don't want to recommend it because I burnt myself so many times the first time that I used it. There's a real learning curve, but oh, does it help. perfectly clean kitchen. This is not how we live. This is not great lighting.